This is Football Night in America, served by Applebee's.
Welcome to November in the NFL season, Sunday number 9 in the books. Time to open our book and look back at it. Rodney Harrison, Mike Florio, Tony Dungy, and Mike Tirico. A lot of interesting games. All the afternoon games on Sunday were won by the home teams. Jacksonville, technically the home team, lost over in London. 26 points. There are 5 different teams during the week that scored the odd number of 26 exactly to win games. I want to focus in on the close games for a little bit. So we'll take 4 of the close games and just dive a little deeper on them. Let's start with the Minnesota-Kansas City game. That was a Minnesota team that had won 3, Mike. They were on a roll. They didn't play great against Washington in that Thursday night game a week or so ago. And they go to Kansas City, and Kansas City ends up sprinting at the finish, kicking the field goals to get the victory. What did you see out of that game?
Well, what I saw was a Vikings team that once again had a chance to win in a big spot, and the table was set perfectly. It wasn't pretty, but up 3 points with 7 minutes and 48 seconds to go, the ball on their own 28, time to start chewing the clock. And what do? They throw the ball. They throw the ball. They give the ball back to the Chiefs. Chiefs tie it up, and then they have another drive, the Vikings do, with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. Bad play calling, shank of a punt. Next thing you know, Chiefs walk off the winner. It just continues the narrative, Tony. When this team has an opportunity to win big games in big spots, they can't get it done. It wasn't all Kirk Cousins' fault today, but they can't get it done when they have a prime opportunity to win a big game on the road.
Yeah, and to me, I'd say that it was a disappointing game for Minnesota. You've got the leading rusher in the league in Dalvin Cook playing against a bad run defense. Mm-hmm. You can't pound it out. No Patrick Mahomes. You can't close. That's a game. Road games are tough to win, but that's a game you should win if you're Minnesota.
I look at Minnesota's defense, and this is supposed to be one of the best defenses in the NFL, and you're playing against a backup quarterback, and they ran through you. You gave up big plays. You're not playing with the same passion. Safeties are missing tackles. I think Minnesota's in trouble defensively if they don't get it together.
Right back to you on the flip side of that with Kansas City and what Andy Reid has done here with Matt Moore. Again, out of the football last year, coaching high school football at the start of this season, takes the call, comes in, backs up there. Good performance against Green Bay in the Sunday night game a week ago, and then comes out with this kind of game, and they get the ball to their playmakers, like Tyreek Hill, big catch with Kelsey at the end. That's what Andy Reid has done with backup quarterbacks in the past.
He is great at knowing what his quarterbacks can do, what they're comfortable with. He calls the games where they're effective, and Chris Sims talked about it on our show. He did a few things differently with Matt Moore than he does with Patrick Mahomes, but he got the ball to his playmakers. He kept Moore very, very comfortable.
I'm sorry, Mike, but Chris Jones just absolutely dominated. Defensive tackle Chris Jones. I mean, I think he made a huge difference on that defense. They gave up some big plays, but ultimately when it came down to it, he made some key plays, Mike.
And I spoke to Matt Moore after the game, and, you know, confidence was the buzzword, the game plan, the scheme. Having Sammy Watkins, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelsey to throw the ball to. And you could see when he would go back to pass, he didn't hesitate. He was almost going to his first read on pretty much every throw because the play was designed. They knew what to call. They knew the first read was going to work against that look.
And can you believe Andy Reid actually ran the ball? He had success running the football, so that was a big part of the game plan.
Down 91-yard touchdown run, a big part of the victories. That's one of the close games. Who was the next close game? Tony?
Oh, I have question number 2. Pittsburgh survived on a missed field goal by Indianapolis. They're now 4-4. Are the Steelers legit? Are they back in the playoff picture?
Well, you think about with Baltimore being ahead of them still, no matter the result of the Sunday night game, they knew that when they left the field, they weren't going to be a first-place team, but it's a lot better than 1-4. At 1-4, this thing looked dire, and you're watching the Sunday night game, and here comes Duck playing quarterback for me. Go, what's going on here with the Steelers? But they have scraped wins together. If you think back to the Monday night game a week ago, watching them play Pittsburgh the first quarter and a half against Miami, in Pittsburgh you're going, this team isn't going anywhere. But they scraped out a win. I like what Mike Tomlin said, that stench of September, we're just going to be trying to scrub that off the rest of the year. But they've found a way to piece wins together in not a strong conference, and they'll very much be in, whether it's the division or wild card, the playoff chase if they can have a good November.
Mike, you're absolutely right, because I'm looking at the schedule, and they have the Rams, a team that they definitely can beat, Cleveland Browns twice, and Cincinnati. I mean, they'll be right there.
But Arizona after that.
Yeah.
I said all week, when you look at the Steelers' schedule, it's a simple path to the division championship. It's not an easy path. They have to stay within a game of the Ravens going into Week 17. And if the Steelers beat the Bengals and sweep the Browns, that game, Week 17, will be for the AFC North championship game. If they can just stay within a game and win those other 3, because they'd win on the tiebreaker because the Ravens lost to the Browns in the division. So it's very doable. And it's amazing to think that they're back to 4-4 after as bad as they looked the first few weeks.
You're talking about Coach of the Year. Maybe Mike Tomlin, if he can string off 3 or 4 victories, maybe he should have a little consideration.
I'm so glad you pointed that out, because I want to go with Tony and go off the board here a little bit on the coaching issue, because we always want to bring in the new hot coach with the hot ideas, and very few organizations stay stable. And we know legendarily Pittsburgh, 3 coaches in a half century, Mike Tomlin around for a long time. The experience of a head coach who's ridden the ups and downs really coming to light here right now.
And as you say, kind of the background of the organization. They're 1-4. But as a coach, you don't feel that pressure. Oh, I've got to do something different because the boss might get upset and he might make a flash decision to fire me. No, he knew they're behind him. We're going to ride through this. Nobody's going to panic. And I think that's that helps you as a coach, no question.
And if you want close games, just park yourself at about 3 o'clock Eastern or 2 hours in front of the Colts game, because every game's been one possession down the stretch. I mean, how many times have we seen Adam Vinatieri have to make or miss a kick to determine the outcome of the game? It's been a fascinating first half of the season with Jacoby Brissett at least banged up with his knee in that game. What will be the next step for this Colts team that's already gone without Andrew Luck?
And my big criticism of the Colts this season has been they play up and down to the level of the competition. And, this is it wasn't going to be easy for them to win at Heinz Field, but this is a game that the Colts, based on what we've seen from them against better teams, this is a game they should have won.
I think this was the worst game for their offensive line, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They got pushed around pretty much.
Yeah. All right, Michael, I think you have number 3.
All right, the Seahawks needed overtime and 5 Russell Wilson touchdown passes to beat the Buccaneers. What is your overriding feeling about Seattle right now, Coach?
They're a Russell Wilson team. He's got to make miraculous plays for them to win, and if he does, they're going to win. They played Baltimore. It was the same thing. He made one error, one bad play, pick 6, and they lost the ball game. This is not a great team, but they're going to win some games because they've got this magician playing quarterback.
Yeah, this is a really good offense. I have questions and marks about their defense. Can they consistently find pressure? Is their secondary good enough? I don't think their secondary is good enough. They don't have playmakers. I think they're really weak at the safety spot. I like their offense. I just don't like. I'm not a big fan of their defense.
I think about it. They lost 2 games at home. They should have lost to the Rams at home. They could have lost at home today, and they just got diced up by that Buccaneers passing game. I mean, every time you look, Mike Evans gaining 30 or 40 yards against them.
They don't have great pass rushers. They don't have great pass protectors. They've got a big, strong back who makes things happen, and they've got a quarterback who can run around and make unbelievable plays when things break down.
You know what, Coach? I think they like playing in these shootouts. I'm serious. I do. I think they just like playing with these shootouts.
You know what we all are? We're guilty of how we got to know Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll together in the Seahawks. And even though the head coach and the quarterback are still there, so you think, oh, it's the Seahawks. We know what we're going to get. They're very different.
Not the same team.
They're not winning. As you said, Tony, they have to win. Russell has to be outstanding, and he has been tremendous. And his ability to drop those passes out of the sky with the nose down like you're throwing it into a garbage can from 40 yards away has been exemplary this year. We saw it on 2 more key touchdowns this week.
Yeah, we were watching the game, and we said, don't you think Russell's going to take him down for a score? He takes him down for a score, and Tampa came back and scored. He took him down to win the game in regulation. The field goal kicker missed. He took him down again and won it in overtime. But that's what they come to expect.
And you're being very humble, Coach, because you called it. When they were down, you said Russell Wilson's going to come back and he's going to lead them to victory.
That's exactly what they intended to do, though, after the 2017 season. The first year they didn't get to the playoffs. That gave them an opportunity to tear things down. And there was a systematic approach here. There were guys in that locker room that always resented Russell Wilson. They never really accepted him. Those guys are gone. It's Russell Wilson's team, $35 million a year, and they're riding with him, and it's working so far.
Well, when they played the Rams, I'm sorry, Tony, a few weeks ago, before the game, I was out there and on the field talking to John Schneider, their GM, and I may have shared this story before, but we were just talking about rebuilding on the run. When you know you have a franchise quarterback, and now he's being paid as a franchise quarterback, so you have to rebuild around him. So draft-wise, they've gone after receivers, physical receivers who are making plays, and they've done a good job, and Seattle's been as good as anyone at picking people up and bringing them in to try to improve your team. And with the injury to Will Dissly, their tight end, for the 2nd straight year, They had to find somebody. Jacob Hollister used to be with the Patriots, caught 2 of the 5 touchdowns for Wilson today.
Speaking of used to be with the Patriots, if Josh Gordon comes in
That's right.
and does what he can do.
Have you seen those 2 guys' bodies? 6'3", 6'4", 235. It's just unbelievable.
Corners will be nervous when they play those guys.
Go for it?
You go right ahead.
All right. Raiders made a goal line stand to beat the Lions. Does John Gruden deserve some Coach of the Year love?
I think they still have a few more wins to go before we get into that conversation. But think of what they've been through. It was 7 weeks that they had been away from Oakland. It was long enough that they grew new grass, right? Where did this field come from? They only have 5 games left ever in that stadium. They got a brand new field. But
yes or no?
I think they got to win a few more. No, they got to win a few more.
I'd say, go ahead. What did you say, Coach?
I thought they were going to be a disaster after the Antonio Brown situation. They've already won more games than I thought they would, but I'm with Mike. They've got to win a few more, make a playoff run.
Here's their season. Thursday night, Chargers come into the beautifully new-grassed Oakland Alameda O2, whatever it's now called, Coliseum, right? They play Cincinnati and the Jets the 2 weeks after that. If they can win Thursday night, they have a chance to get to 7-4 to Thanksgiving. You never would have thought that would have happened with this team. They've lost some guys in the offensive line, but they're still physical. They have the heaviest offensive line. They are a power-running team. They have done a good job in a lot of different ways. So if they can get to 7-4, then I'll bring up and you know that's one of my old partners, so I would give you the first, yes, he should be in the Coach of the Year conversation. But impressive. And on the flip side of that, how many close games has Detroit lost this year? They are this close to being a team that's 5-2-1, right around it, right around being in the playoff mix in the NFC. But the Kansas City game, the Green Bay game, this game, they find ways not to win games right now. And that margin error is going to put them in a tough spot.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth because I'm looking at Kansas City, Minnesota, Green Bay, and Houston. You lose to all 4 of those teams. How do you deserve Coach of the Year consideration?
Oh, in the AFC?
Yes.
There you go. That's fine. So your answer is no.
Right.
It's okay.
But you're right. This will be a big game. If they can beat the Chargers, they can make some noise in this race.
And that'll be a good game. And it's so interesting to watch how the folks in Oakland react. Because the team's leaving. The team's not leaving because of the lack of fan support. It's the whole business model of it. Yet these fans are still behind the Raiders. Yeah. And that black hole only has like 3 or 4 more games to show off because there'll never be anything like that in the NFL anymore. He has done a good job with a lot of moving pieces and personnel. Word association, gentlemen. All right, you ready? This is the speed round. Okay. I'm sorry, do we have speed round music for November?
Why rock and roll? No hip hop?
Look, this is just to get the speed round thing going.
Get us thinking quick. Think us fast.
Because, see, hip-hop has lyrics going, and that would distract people from the value of your commentary.
Yes, sir.
Speed round. Word association. The Packers shut down by the Chargers. What word do you associate with that game?
Complacency from the Packers standpoint.
Aberration. Yeah, I mean, it's one loss. They'll get right.
Unbelievable. I just did not see that coming.
Yeah, shocker. There's one on the board every day. We walk into our viewing room about 11 in the morning. We kind of look at the board. What's the one game that's going to happen that you don't think is going to happen? And that was the one game
today
right there. Deshaun Watson's performance.
Magnificent. I watched this guy just create plays, make plays. We talked about him telling the officials, don't blow me dead. He made 2 or 3 plays where they're grabbing him. He's letting the ball go. He's running that option and making great decisions. He's been phenomenal.
Yeah, typical. That's my word. I mean, he's 2 years and 1 day removed from that torn ACL, and he plays fearlessly. We talk about Lamar Jackson and whether he's worried about getting injured. Deshaun Watson never gives it a thought. And he, like Chris Sims always says, he plays every play like it's the last play of the Super Bowl, keeps it alive as long as he can, makes it happen. What?
He said word association is supposed to be fun.
Go ahead. Just say one word. You can only say one word.
I thought you were going to say, let's stop quoting Chris Sims, because I couldn't agree more. Like, enough.
Inspirational.
Deshaun Watson.
Talked to one of his teammates, and that's what he told me.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. But, Mike, you did talk to Deshaun Watson on the phone from London. It's a huge win for that team.
It is. And he, you could see in the interviews he was doing after the game, he was a lot more animated than he usually
he knows
is.
He's still got his eye.
Yeah, that's right. Now that he found out his eye didn't fall out, he's a lot happier.
And the highlight of the whole game was that Bill O'Brien gave the game ball to the equipment staff and the logistics folks for pulling off London, huh? Yeah. That was a pretty good one. That was a different one. Back to word association. Gardner Minshew's job security.
He's done. You pay Nick Foles the type of money you're paying him. They're not Nah, you're not sitting Nick Foles on the bench when you're paying, what, 28, 20, whatever million a year?
It's over. And it was going to end when the chariot turned back into a pumpkin or whatever happened and when the clock struck 12 in Cinderella. It's just done. And they got Nick Foles who can come in and try to turn things around. 4
turnovers the last 11 plays of the blowout.
I would say it's gold watch. Isn't that what they give you when it's time for you to just step down?
I'm going to say tenuous. I'm not done yet.
Come on, Mike.
Keep hope alive for Gardner Minshew.
Keep hope alive.
Last word association, second to last, penultimate, the Browns.
Dysfunctional?
I was going to say dysfunctional too. Penalties, just not getting the right play at the right time, the shoes, the visors, everything.
The watches, all the stuff that's gone on with Odell, and they're calling a lot of attention to themselves and non-harmonious.
Just play ball.
Is that one word, non-harmonious?
I like that.
Hyphen, will that allow? Judges accepting the hyphenated, thank you.
Yeah. My word is the Browns. Right? These are the Browns. And we talked about this earlier in the viewing room. I put out a poll on Twitter, and there have been almost 40,000 votes already. Is Freddie Kitchens one and done? And it's like 94% yes. 94% of the people will agree on nothing. 94% are united on this. I don't think they would do it, but it just shows you how quickly it turns. When the bar is high, they let the bar get too high, and they've failed, and people are upset.
I got a quick question to Coach. Coach, what type of coach does the Browns need?
I think they need to empower somebody to say, this is what we're going to be. We're going to play good, sound, solid football. We're going to build this team around togetherness and teamwork, not superstars. We're not bringing in this all-star team. We're just going to play ball.
He said what type of coach. He didn't say which coach specifically.
Yes.
So,
yeah, but still, that type of coach.
A Tony Dungy type
and
of
not
coach.
that we want him to go.
No,
but
he's not. He's not going. That's why I said type of coach. We're not letting you go. Lastly, I want you guys to gaze over that way. You folks can't see. James Kaminsky, Matt Casey.
Yes. 2
of our very important, the guys who just make it work for us, right?
Well, we can do without James.
I want you to look at those 2. I want you to look at those 2 Jets. They are both Jets fans. But thank you. There they are. As we say, guys, word association, look at them, the Jets.
The Jets.
No. You have to give the answer. I
thought they should give the answer.
Look at those
They
lifetime
the
Jet fans for inspiration. Yeah.
I'm going to say, I can't break it down to one word, but it's got to be bad knowing that Miami is much better than you are.
That's right. They looked it on the field today, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah, look, at least the Dolphins are trying to tank. The Jets aren't trying to tank, and the Jets are succeeding.
Right. Okay. Come on, Rodney. Let's go. Jets.
What do you want?
Word association.
Jets.
Loser.
Yeah. Typical. This is typical of the Jets. We've seen this over and over. And the New York football situation, all the New York pro sports teams have been in a tough spot, save the Yankees over this last year, especially the winter and fall teams, the hockey teams, the basketball teams, and now the football teams get to play against each other on Sundays. So it's going to be a week in the New York papers of New York.
They thought they had something in Sam Darnold, and isn't it starting to look like they don't? Isn't it?
I'm not ready to give up on him.
I'm not either, Mike.
I mean, he's just 3 weeks removed from being the AFC Offensive Player of the Week.
I know,
but the last 3 games have been a disaster.
And one of them, and when we look back, there's always that 1 or 2 games that are complete unicorns. What about the Dallas Jets game? That seems like so long ago, but that could hurt Dallas in the long run. That's why I say it's typical for the Jets. The buildup is there. The payoff has not been there. But just hang in there through November and December. Are you done? Are we all done?
I think we're done.
Had a good day. Do you guys want to see Tony dancing? Does American need
I would
to see
love
that?
to see.
So we were playing the song Money, Money, Money before in rehearsal.
You have to
and look
understand.
at Tony Dungy. You got to tell us, Coach.
1975.
Yes.
The OJ, the Crazy Quilt. We were jamming to this. Yes.
See? So there is a lesson out there, and the lesson is, if there's a camera,
be careful.
it's rolling.
The leg kick is the leg kick's awesome.
And that is. There you go. We'll name that tune with you again next week. Thank you very much for
Why don't we
watching.
have that kind of music on during the speed round?
It's racial. Stop it. Goodbye.